Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of True Crime with your host, me, Feminine and Fierce. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. We've got some cases to talk about. The main one, we are going to go over some things that obviously Netflix could not put in the documentary Maternal Instincts, which is a tragic case. But you guys know there's not very many rules on true crime, no malarkey, and no spoiler alerts. I know this is going to be a hard one because I'm sure some people have went down this rabbit hole. Um, but I know how it goes. I know how it is to be invested in a case for sure. Um, if you're over on Facebook, make your way over. All you have to do is go out of the live that you're in and scroll to the top of the page, click that link, come over and join us. I am going to be saying bye to Facebook, but as always, all true crime, in my opinion, is a trigger warning, and this case or cases are they're the same. Definitely trigger warnings. So, because of that, we start out every true crime with playing two games of the match the arrestee to the crime that they committed. So, we're going to do that. And then I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook. That gives you a little bit of time to come on over. You just watched it today, Donna. Yeah, it's a rough one for sure. Yes, hit that like button if you're watching on the replay. Hashtag replay. Let me know that I missed you and hype the live up, please and thank you. So we've got one, two, three, four, and five. Of course, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. The charges that they could have been charged with are fleeing law enforcement, driving under the influence, aggravated assault with a pew pew or some type of weapon, battery, and trespassing. Let me know where you think they should go, and we will put them there. Hey, everybody. Who do you think did what? Oh, we did this one? All right, let me go to another one. My bad. I always do that. I was looking at when I started reading it, I was like, damn, that looks really familiar. Okay, I'll have to find another one. Let me go to this next one. That one we did. Let's do this one. I don't think we've done this one. All right, so here we go. Five more. Here we go. We got one, two, three, four, and five. We got Santa on there. We got making counterfeit currency. Maybe Santa was trying to make some, maybe the economy is rough. Maybe Santa was trying to make some currency so he could get some prizes or something. Maybe his elves quit. I don't know. Making counterfeit currency, arson, red rum, driving under the influence, and disturbing the peace. Let me know. Oh, Maribel, it's so crazy. Let me know. My bad, you guys. We'd already done that one. So let me see. I'm going to go find another one while you guys answer real quick. Let's see. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. One is red rum. Okay, I see one is red rum and three is arson. So one is red rum, three is arson. All right, what's the other one? Who's making counterfeit currency? Currency is number five. All right, who's driving under the influence and who's disturbing the peace? We got two guys. Is NASCAR disturbing the peace or is he driving under the influence? He spelled, oh, I was like, wait, what? Yes, prayers for Lakita. We got one or the other. Dang, everybody said, I'm going to bed after the malarkey shit. Oh, let me move my comment thing. Arson number two. Oh, we got some people. We'll go two and there we go. 0 out of 5. Oh man, I knew Santa was making counterfeit currency, y'all. Dang. All right, number one, making counterfeit currency. Number two is red rum. Three, disturbing the peace. Four is DUI, and five is arson. There you go. Dang, 0 out of 5. I just knew it. I knew Santa was trying to get his money up. I just had that feeling. All right, maybe we can do better on the next one. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. You know it's my fault. I picked the wrong peoples. I picked the wrong people. DUI with the NASCAR shirt is wild. That's the only reason I was thinking it was him because of the NASCAR shirt. I was like, maybe he was driving. All right, here we go. 1 through 5. What do we got here? We got minister. Oh, this one is not the crimes. This is their occupations. So this is a little different. So we have to guess their occupations. These are all people that were arrested. So one person is a minister, one is a Mary Jane grower, one is an escort, flight attendant, and photographer. So who do we think is the escort, the minister? Y'all let me know. This one's a little bit different. Hey, Megan. Hey, Val. I feel like number 4 is the escort, but I could be wrong. It could be a man. It could be a man, y'all. 4 is the escort. 5 is the minister. All right, 4 is the escort. 5 is the minister. All right. And who's the Mary Jane grower, the flight attendant, and the photographer? Ooh, flight attendant's going to be a rough one. 2 is photographer. 2 is photographer. All right, flight attendant and Mary Jane grower. 3 is the Mary Jane grower. All right, 1 is the flight attendant. Oh, is she the flight attendant? Did she get hurt doing her job? What does she do? What do we got? Ah! 0 out of 5. Number 1 is the escort. 2 is the flight attendant. 3 is the minister. 4 is the photographer. And number 5 is the Mary Jane grower. Look at us. Look at us getting the Mary Jane grower and the minister flipped. Now, ain't that some shit? If that don't tell you, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, we went from getting 10 out of 10s for a couple weeks. Now we got 0 out of 10. We got too cocky, damn it. We got too cocky. That's what it was. We got too cocky. All right, guys, that's our little icebreaker. Again, true crime it can be down a lot of times. I mean, with any crime, I feel like. So we're going to end it there. Look at us judging by the cover, right? That was a trap. We were wrong. But I'm going to say bye to Facebook. Thank you guys for indulging me in the little games. I love it. I think it's fun. All right, let's go to yes, this is the one I wanted to start with, but I'll not okay. Watch later. Okay. Let me go to this. Get started. I said goodbye to Facebook. Okay. We're going to start off with this breaking story that people were talking about in the malarkey. Again, all true crime, in my opinion, is a trigger warning. So there's your trigger warning. From this point forward, everything we talk about could be a trigger warning of some sort. All right.
We are pushing for answers after a shooting involving law enforcement in North Mississippi left a 1-year-old little boy dead and a woman in critical condition. Family tells us 1-year-old Cohen Wiley died after police shot at the car he was in yesterday afternoon in the Senatobia Walmart parking lot. Tonight, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, who is now handling the case, says officers were initially called to the store for a shoplifting call. WRAG Shay Arthur is live tonight with the very latest on the case. Shay.
April, really, it seems like so much of this case could rest on what is seen on video. I have to tell you, I was in this store just a short time ago. There are surveillance cameras everywhere. Out here in the parking lot, we're seeing it too. There are signs all over here in the parking lot at Walmart for cameras in use all over. This is, of course, where that shooting took place. Tonight, a family is grieving the loss of little 1-year-old Cohen Wiley.
I'm just lost for words, to be honest.
Everybody held accountable.
Someone need to be held accountable for it.
Cohen's family says he died at the hospital in Senatobia after he was shot, a bullet piercing the car he was riding in Sunday afternoon. You can see in this video at least one bullet hole in the front windshield of a car we spotted there at the hospital. The passenger side window also heavily damaged. Investigators with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation say law enforcement were called to the Senatobia Walmart just after 2 Sunday afternoon for a shoplifting call. They say officers saw 2 adults and a child leaving a store jump into a car. As officers tried to stop that car, the driver drove in their direction, nearly hitting an officer. At least one officer shot at that vehicle. The car continued to take off, but arrived at the hospital a short time later, where Cohen died. This viewer video shows the chaotic moments after the shooting.
CJ got shot.
As officers are seen running through the parking lot. This woman was at Walmart at the time. She says she saw the whole incident. She asked not to be identified for fear of retaliation.
And I seen the officers take off running, not in the car, I'm talking about on feet. And these are the sheriffs and the police, and they're running through the parking lot. And I see the car take off, you know. So I'm like, in my head, like, I know they're not chasing the car. They don't think they're gonna catch the car, literally. Then I hear gunshots. And I'm like, I know they're not shooting at a car that's leaving in a public. This is Walmart.
A separate witness told me he heard 2 gunshots. He said law enforcement was already waiting in the parking lot as 2 women exited with 1 box of diapers, one holding baby Cohen. Today, we went to Senatobia City Hall to request the police department's shoplifting response policy, the number of shoplifting calls received at the Walmart in the last 6 months, as well as body-worn and dash camera footage from officers. I also spoke with the mayor, who would not say how many officers were involved in the incident or if anyone was on administrative leave during the investigation. But as a small town now has questions, people we talk to hope for transparency in the case.
I'm just tired of it.
It's something to think about. I just hope the truth come out.
Yeah, and April and Alex, as we continue to press for our own answers, a community organizer does tell me a group plans to meet tomorrow at City Hall to question officials as well. For your news leader, we're live in Senatobia.
My thing is even if the woman had taken something and got in the car and left, why in the hell would you open fire in a friggin' parking lot full of people? Even if they did steal stuff, there is surveillance video for a reason. If she stole something and left in her car, you have her on video. You also have her car that has a tag on it. You can see who the register owner is. I mean, yeah, you have to do a little police work. You may not catch them on the scene, but what are we doing? Even if they did steal the diapers and the stuff, like, why would you think that's the answer, is to run through the parking lot and then pull out the pew pew and start pew pewing? Like, what? You don't know who's in that car. Clearly, because there was a child that lost their life. That's why they have surveillance like they do at Walmart. They could have figured out who she was, and you could have went to her house and arrested her later. Like, I feel like there's no explanation for this. She didn't even steal them, Layla. Apparently, they got called to the Walmart for shoplifting, and I'm assuming they saw them and thought they matched the description or whatever, so they ran through the parking lot and then opened fire. But they're saying that the aunt had a receipt for the diaper she walked out with, so it looks like that was a mistaken identity type thing. It's just crazy. And again, like I said, even if she did steal the shit, that's why there's cameras. Like, I don't get that. And I'm not saying that stealing is right. I'm just saying there are things they could do. There's things they could do besides open fire in a freaking parking lot, Walmart parking lot. Like, that's just, to me, that's reckless. That's crazy. Let's see. All right. I am going to play this little clip because we were talking about it. And then we'll get into the other one. The mom should have never did that interview. All right, let's see. No death penalty for who?
A body has been recovered in South Carolina during the search for 39-year-old personal trainer Elena Catherine Moore. According to local authorities, the body was found in clothing matching the outfit Moore was last seen in, though the coroner's office has yet to formally identify the remains. Moore, a fitness instructor from Lexington, disappeared after leaving a Planet Fitness gym on June 11th at 9:17 p.m. Her husband of 1 year, Brandon Slice, reported her missing the following day, describing her sudden disappearance as highly out of character. Before the discovery, investigators focused heavily on surveillance footage from the night she vanished. The video captured Moore walking toward a wooded area situated behind a nearby Lowe's home improvement store. She was wearing an olive green zip-up hoodie and black athletic pants, the exact clothing description matching the body later recovered by police. As the week-long search intensified, investigators expanded their ground operation to the woodlands near Lakeside Middle School, roughly 1 mile from the gym. Police also attempted to track Moore's cell phone, though it was unconfirmed if she still had the device. Prior to finding the body, officials stated they found no immediate evidence of foul play. The discovery follows the disturbing Ring camera footage showing Moore acting highly confused in the days leading up to her disappearance. In one video, Moore took a DoorDash food delivery from a driver and delivered it to a resident's door herself. Neighbor Sarah Burleson said that Moore appeared confused during the interaction, causing her and her partner to initially believe they had just an unusual delivery experience. Additional Ring camera footage from an apartment complex showed Moore wandering the premises and handling residents' packages. Burleson witnessed Moore sitting crisscross on a neighbor's porch holding a package while on her phone. Burleson said Moore told her, "I honestly don't know what I'm doing." Friends have also expressed deep concern over a sudden shift in Moore's daily routines. Close friend Lauren Beasley reported that the personal trainer had completely vanished from her social media accounts for about a month before disappearing, which was entirely uncharacteristic for her. Beasley said that while Moore seemed normal during their last interaction a month prior, she had shared nothing personal regarding her work or her marriage. While police previously indicated they did not believe Moore was in imminent danger, the case remains an active investigation. Authorities are currently awaiting the final
results. My bad, y'all.
results and formal identification from the coroner to determine the exact circumstances surrounding her death.
Yeah, there's something going on with that whole, like, her whole case. Hold on. So they're just waiting on official confirmation of whether or not that it is her. But it seems like, at least from, I'm wondering if there was foul play at all, because from the videos and stuff like that, it seems like she may have been having some kind of um, something psych going on, or I don't know. It just heard the videos of her and the neighbors that have talked about, the handling of the packages and stuff. Like, she, even when they ask her, like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So I don't know if rugs were involved. I don't know. And the fact that she had disappeared from her social media. So yeah. Yeah, Adrian. They said that her mental state had definitely been off for quite a while. Okay. 1 second. Let me. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. All right. I'm going to show different videos. I may not show all of the video, like all of it in its entirety, but I do have a lot to kind of go over. Maybe schizophrenic, maybe a psychotic break, could be drug induced, could be not. Like, I don't think they're going to know anything until they get obviously confirmation that it's her, and then a toxicology report and cause of death. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Now, if you've not heard of the Taylor Parker case, this is what we're talking about. There is a documentary that just came out on Netflix. This case, I believe, went on about 4 years ago. I believe it happened in 2020. But this is about the 2020 killing of Reagan Simmons Hancock and her unborn daughter in New Boston. It led to the most closely watched capital murder trial in Bowie County history, and now a Netflix documentary. A timeline of the case: October 9th, 2020 is when all of this took place. Um, and then November 9th of 2022, Taylor Parker was sentenced to death. So she is on death row. I believe she is one of 9 women on death row in the state, in Texas. May 29th, 2026, the U.S. Supreme Court declined the case. They have not set her execution date. And then June 12th, 2026, Maternal Instinct premiered on Netflix. So on the morning of October 9th, 2020, Taylor Renee Parker, also known as Taylor Morton, then 27, unalive 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock at Simmons Hancock's home in New Boston. Simmons Hancock was about 35 weeks pregnant. Parker cut the unborn child from her and fled with the baby towards Oklahoma. A Texas state trooper then stopped her near DeKalb, Texas, and found her with the newborn, whom she claimed she had just delivered. The baby did have the umbilical cord, and she had the placenta as well in her pants. The baby, Braxlyn Sage Hancock, was pronounced dead at the hospital. Parker was arrested the same day. So she faked her pregnancy for months, staging announcements, sonogram images. She did a gender reveal. She also had a silicone belly. She had, as she had claimed, as her due date approached, she targeted a young mother that she knew. Basically, she was going to pass the baby off as her own. Now, my thing is she had to be very dense or very desperate, or both, because what in the right mind did she think that she would ever be able to pass this baby off as her own? Like, there's so many things, like the fact that she had a hysterectomy in 5 years prior to this, right? I'm sure they did, Keisha. She had a hysterectomy 5 years prior. Not only that, she the baby's DNA would not have matched hers. The DNA in the placenta would not have matched hers. Not only that, she had just been to this girl's house the night before. They were going to figure, like, what is she? I don't understand her thinking that she was just going to get away with this. But let's take a look at this video.
Where this baby came from. But you didn't give birth this morning.
What do you mean?
Meet Taylor Parker, a woman who spent nearly a year building a carefully crafted lie. A lie that would eventually lead to an unthinkable tragedy.
I found a woman this morning on the side of the road, and her had been removed from her body. And then you show up with a baby, and the information is you've had a hysterectomy. There's no way you could have been pregnant.
And even after everything that happened, she seems to believe that acting confused and avoiding direct answers might be enough to distance herself from what she had done.
You just butchered this lady and left her to rot on the side of the road, so she's still her baby. Something's wrong with me.
On the morning of October 9th, 2020, at around 11 a.m., Trooper Lee Shavers stopped a Toyota Corolla on US 82 near DeKalb after noticing it speeding and driving erratically. Behind the wheel was Taylor Parker. As he approached the vehicle, he saw something alarming: a newborn baby girl lying unresponsive in Taylor's lap. The umbilical cord was still attached.
What infuriated me the most about this traffic stop, because you can find the full traffic stop on YouTube. What killed me in this traffic stop is that you have a state trooper who clearly has been trained and has CPR knowledge, and he did nothing to try to help that baby. Nothing. He instead waited until some lady was walking by and happened to be a nurse, and she tried to help. But you know him as a state trooper, has the training, and should have stepped in and did, like, and I'm sure it was alarming, but at this point he just thinks it's a woman who had a baby on the side of the road. He doesn't even know the whole extent that it's not her baby or anything like that. So it's not like it's as traumatizing as once you find out the whole story. He didn't know all that. He just thought this lady had her baby on the side of the road, and he did nothing. I was so infuriated with this friggin' cop. No urgency, nothing. I just could not understand it. Right. The thing is, she had given birth twice before and had an ectopic pregnancy and thought this was going to work. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I was yelling, take the baby too. I was like, because he's got training.
Paramedics rushed the infant to McCurtain Memorial Hospital in Idabel, Oklahoma. But despite their best efforts, she was pronounced dead a short time later. What nobody at the scene knew yet was that another investigation had already begun nearly 40 minutes earlier. At 10:18 a.m., officers with the New Boston Police Department received a frantic 911 call from Jessica Brooks, the mother of 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock. Reagan was 7.5 months pregnant and had suddenly stopped responding to calls and messages. Concerned, Jessica went to check on her daughter. When she entered Reagan's home on Austin Street, she discovered a devastating scene. Reagan had suffered fatal injuries, and her unborn daughter was no longer with her. At that point, investigators had no idea the two cases were connected. That changed when doctors examined the baby brought in by Taylor. Medical staff quickly determined that Taylor had not recently given birth. The newborn was soon identified as Braxlyn Sage Hancock, Reagan's daughter. The obvious question became, how did Taylor end up with Reagan's baby? As detectives retraced her movements, a disturbing picture began to emerge. Surveillance footage placed Taylor near Reagan's home that morning, and cell phone records showed she had driven the same route the day before. The motive appeared to stem from a deception that had been going on for months. After a partial hysterectomy in 2015 left her unable to have children, Taylor chose not to tell people the truth. Instead, she spent nearly 10 months pretending she was pregnant. She wore a prosthetic baby bump, showed others what turned out to be fabricated ultrasound photos, held a gender reveal, and posted updates online to make the pregnancy seem real. But as the due date approached, the lies were closing in. Prosecutors say Taylor then made a horrific decision and targeted her pregnant friend. At the traffic stop, officers initially believed they were dealing with a woman who had just given birth and a baby in critical condition. But once Taylor arrived at the hospital, medical staff noticed inconsistencies with her story. When she resisted a physical examination, suspicion grew rapidly. What had started as a medical emergency quickly turned into a major criminal investigation. The woman in that hospital bed was no longer seen as a distressed mother, she was becoming the prime suspect in a tragic case. And while Taylor continued to insist the baby was hers, investigators entered her hospital room to begin asking questions.
So what happened this morning? Did you just go into labor on the side of the road?
No, me and I was supposed to ride with my fiance, and we sell, we own a hog buying facility, and we were gonna come through here, but I was having contractions and stuff and wasn't feeling good, so I stayed at home and told him we would just meet here after he dropped the hogs at 7, and he got tied up. I mean, he's on his way.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure if you saw the documentary, she had faked a sale of hogs because that's what they did. They would sell hogs for people that had like hunters coming up to their land or whatever. She needed to get hit because her due date was 2 weeks past. She was supposed to be due on September 22nd. Well, then her due date had passed. Now, at one point, she had said that she had an induction scheduled. Well, guess what? The hospital got a bomb threat. His mom even said to her, like, it's because you put the bomb threat in. So that was that. Then they were supposed to go on another day, and his house caught fire, which they determined was started with a lighter. So I'm sure it was hers, her doing. And then they had to go to Idabel, Oklahoma, because the hospital that was local to their area knew Taylor. They knew she had a hysterectomy. They knew she wasn't pregnant. And her OBGYN office had contacted the hospitals in the area to have them be on high alert because they knew she was lying. And once it passed time for her to fake a miscarriage, they were concerned. So that's why she told her husband they had to go to Oklahoma. So she sent him because he was wanting to just take her to the hospital, but she knew that she had to figure out where to get this baby from. So she sent him on a wild goose chase basically and texted him from like a text now app and said, "Hey, this is Steve. I'm going to buy those hogs from you." So he drove 4 hours away to sell hogs to this guy, and the guy was like, "I don't want your hogs. Like I didn't send those messages." He had 150 hogs on a trailer. And so the owner walked back in and the ranch hand came out and he was like, her husband, Wade, or fiance, or whatever he was like, "I just want to get rid of these hogs, whatever." So Wade ended up negotiating, and they were supposed to, he was supposed to sell the 150 hogs for $6,100. And instead, because of the mix up, and clearly Taylor had been texting him as this guy to get him out there, to get him away so she could commit this crime, they ended up settling on $2,500 for the 150 hogs. So he did end up leaving there with an empty trailer, but that took him longer than expected because it was such a mix up. So that's why he wasn't back as early as he was supposed to be at the hospital. And that's what she was trying to explain to the cops. But yeah, he went out there on a whole wild goose chase.
Now how did you get here? Did you drive yourself?
No, an ambulance brought
brought you?
me. Yes,
Oh, okay.
like that.
Oh, okay. All right. From DeKalb?
Yes. Yeah, I had a life net. I had a nurse help me, a life net nurse lady help me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The nurses said that you weren't going to let the doctor check you to make sure you weren't hemorrhaging or anything.
They did an ultrasound.
The hemorrhaging, I hemorrhaged really bad when I had my. The hemorrhaging is the bleeding, whether you're passing clots or not passing clots. It's really good to have you checked for that, because I know I was passing massive clots and they were about to start giving me blood. That's why they're wanting to check how, any damage, and check to make sure you're not bleeding inside internally. That's why they're wanting to make sure.
That's okay, that's fine. I didn't know it was a big deal not to want the guy to do that.
Oh,
No,
Lord.
I mean, if you don't want to, that's up to you, but that's why.
All right, I'm going to switch a little bit because this video doesn't show the entire thing. I'm going to back up just a little bit. Hold on one second. To the actual stop. In case you didn't get, and just for the ones who didn't get to see it. But yes, they did determine, and I will go over that later, Kaylee, but yes, they did determine that the baby was in fact viable and was breathing when she was born. And then she had loss of oxygen.
What's wrong, man?
So this is the actual traffic stop. This is what I was talking about with the trooper.
With my baby, and I'm trying to get to Idabel Hospital.
Idabel?
Yeah, my husband's up there.
Why aren't you going to St. Michael's or somewhere?
We're going to Idabel. It's where my doctor is. I need to get up there.
Man, I need to call LifeNet or something like that. I can't let you drive. Let me get LifeNet on the way.
She's not breathing.
Again, you think about it, this man's standing there watching her and he has training.
She's not breathing.
Like,
say that again.
Hey, yeah, the baby's.
Now she is on the phone with another EMS company. Like when they talked about this while they were on dispatch. So she was so, in my opinion, so worried that they were going to take her to the nearest hospital and not the one that she had told her husband she would be at. Because again, she's still trying to keep up this lie that that's the hospital she was already planning to be at. That's where her husband knows her to be. So she doesn't want to go to the other hospital because they're on alert right now because of her OBGYN. So she is literally on the phone while she's got the state trooper there on the phone with another EMS trying to get them to make sure they know that she cannot go to the nearest hospital.
Not breathing. She's doing CPR on the baby right now.
And where are you?
We're on 82, right across from the DeKalb Middle School.
So breathe in her nose for 30 seconds.
I'm transferring you to LifeNet. Hold on, okay?
Okay.
Okay, she's wiped.
The baby is not breathing. She's on the phone with EMS. She's trying to get to Idabel Hospital, but...
We got to go to Idabel. That's where I'm going. I'm not going to St. Michael's.
Okay.
They They hurt my last baby. I'm not going there. I just need life net and they can take me.
On the phone with a different EMS?
It sounds like it.
I guess. Okay.
But this yeah, the
That's crazy. Like, you're in this situation and she is so stuck to the plan. And not only that, again, that hospital knows her, so she knows they're going to know immediately that that's not her baby. So in the middle of all this, she's trying to allegedly save this baby, but yet she's on the damn phone with another EMS. I just couldn't believe that.
baby's not breathing. She's trying to do CPR on the baby right now.
Okay, where are you located, sir? What's your closest intersection to you?
Can you put me in your car and take us?
We're on US 82, right across from the DeKalb Middle School in DeKalb, at 82 and Beatty Street.
Yeah, he could have.
You said right across from the DeKalb Middle School?
Yes.
Like, she's getting so mad, like, and he's just casually just chilling on the door, like just letting her flounder with no training probably.
780 West Front Street.
Can you just put me in your car and drive us? Like maybe 35 minutes old.
Now, right there, she says, and you can see the umbilical cord right there. She had put the umbilical cord in her pants, so, and the placenta, and so he's thinking it just came out. But when she said right there that the baby was born 35 minutes ago, what do you mean 35 minutes ago? I thought you just did that. Right, it's like he just pulled someone over for speeding, right? But the fact that she said the baby's been alive for 35 minutes,
He was delivering hogs right outside of Idabel. That's what I was trying to get to.
903-219?
No,
which is why she sent him to that specific hog person that wanted to buy hogs or whatever, because she knew it was right there by Idabel. I mean, she had it all planned out.
93.
And even when her husband gets called and they're like, she had a baby, like, he's just like, okay, like, you could tell he was over it at that point.
Are you a nurse? Hey, this woman is a nurse.
You're a state trooper. What the fuck?
This one right now, but I do have my license. Please help me.
Yes, Kaylee.
I'm trying to, I gotta get
Got a 50 minor in front of the Ponderosa 12520 SM 1840 for Trailblazer and Tahoe. They're still on the roadway.
Did he answer?
No, ma'am. I couldn't get the number.
He didn't even answer the first time.
Did you actually reroute to this assistant? In front of this location, she's having a baby and the baby's not breathing.
All right, I'm going to give the phone back to you. Yes.
Right here.
Can you talk to Wade?
Hello?
651 at 947.
Crazy. Can you imagine the people, the family and stuff, because they had already said she wasn't pregnant. Can you imagine when they got this, like, figured out what she did? Oh, the guilt would kill me.
Right now they have the baby in one of the life net vehicles. They haven't left yet. They have another vehicle coming to transport the mom. They're still on scene. The baby is not breathing. She said the mom to sit down in my vehicle.
Right. She did not have blood on her pants, which the trooper thought was odd, but she had blood on her face, her fingernails, just all kinds of places, but not on her pants. It was just weird. When I look at her, you think what she went through that morning, because her and her victim, Reagan, that was 34, 35 weeks pregnant, they fought. I'm talking about fought big time. She fought that woman, and she just went through that. Then the fact that the stuff happened where she had to take the baby out and then drive with the baby, like, I can't imagine. And she's just sitting there like, oh,
No, not yet.
Here in Texas or in Oklahoma?
No, over in Oklahoma.
You want to call her?
yes.
Wait.
She switched pants because if you remember, she was when he first stopped her, she had like black leggings or something on, and she was using those sweatpants to wipe the baby. And then she ended up somehow put, I guess she put them on over the leggings. I'm not sure.
I've already talked to Wade. He knows to meet you at the hospital. Okay.
It's crazy.
We gotta go. There's an ambulance with you. Come take you to Titus, okay?
I don't want to go to
You
Titus.
can't take her to Idabel. It's not close enough.
Oh no, because we're going to Titus.
Yeah, but she might still need to know.
Oh my God.
No, I know the freaking OBs up there.
See, she did not want to go up there because she knows the OBs would have immediately said, I performed a hysterectomy on you. What? But somehow she ended up, I guess, talking them into going there because that's where they said she was at the time of interrogation. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't get her. Maybe they didn't take her to Idabel, but I thought they did. Hold on a second. What the fuck? Bad, y'all. Hold up. Hold, please. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to get this to back up. Okay. My bad. Probably because I got so much shit open up on my computer. Hold, please. Hold, please. Let's see. My bad. All right. Go, because I wanted to show. So that was the infuriation with me. I just wanted to take you guys there for a second because I couldn't believe that state trooper. And they like Maribel said, when they asked him on the stand why he didn't have any urgency, he said he couldn't say why. Like he didn't know. Okay. So this was another part that they did not show in the documentary. So while they're interrogating her, I think Madam said it, that the person interrogating her, the detective, really he took more time with her than I would have, and he was trying to figure out the why, which I do, Nicole. He was trying to figure out the why, which we all know the why because she had created this big scheme, you know? But one of the things that I didn't see it was kind of the end of the interrogation that they talked about.
But it's not. Because I've never hurt anybody.
Well, I can believe that.
I don't have a record.
I can believe that. So y'all are fighting around. You end up with a knife, and she hits you. She apparently picks up something, hits you with something heavy. You're not sure what it was, and then
She says that she was trying to save the baby, that her and the victim got into a fight, and she was trying to save the baby. She's actually come up with a few different scenarios since this interrogation, actually. Hold on. Here you go.
and she calls you a liar. Is that accurate? But you don't remember what it was.
She said something, I just can't remember what it was.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just trying to get it right in my head. Okay. And then she punches you. You punch her back. And y'all end up in is it carport or garage? You use both words. It's like more like a carport or is it a garage?
There's a concrete, and then it goes in.
Okay. All right. So y'all end up in the garage, and she falls. She pushes you. You push her back. She falls pretty hard. And then I think you told me that
She grabbed a knife.
Okay.
Because I remember she stabbed me in my hand.
Whereabouts? The cut right there.
Yes, she stuck me there. She cut me right there.
Flip it around so I can see. Oh, right there. Okay.
And then there was something else.
Okay.
Right there, she got me with the tip of it right there.
Okay.
I just remember hitting her.
But she had a knife though. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know why she grabbed it.
Okay. So once you
It's like,
go ahead.
No, he didn't care about her. He
So
wanted
once
that property.
And you said it went on for a while.
But listen to this.
no. A long while.
A long while. Okay.
It felt like.
Did she still have the knife?
And that's the shitty part, is the fighting did go on for a long while. The evidence at the crime scene and the autopsy of Reagan, they did fight for a long time. Reagan fought and fought and fought.
She did because she fell.
Okay. And what happened when she fell?
There was blood.
Okay. So did you take the knife away from her, or did you ever have the knife?
I did at one point.
Did you? Okay.
Because I don't know why.
No, that's okay. I don't want you to lie. So y'all are fighting. She's got a knife, and at some point you get the knife. Okay. Were you able to?
She grabbed something heavy because I remember her hitting me with it, but I don't know what it was.
That's fine. So she grabbed something heavy and hit you with it. Okay. Was that when you had gotten the knife from her? Did you have the knife at that point? Okay, so you get the knife from her, and then she hits you with something. Am I understanding you right?
Yeah, because I don't know why I would ever hurt her.
Wow.
Yeah. She hits you with, she apparently picks up something, hits you with something heavy.
That's crazy.
What it was. And then, she fell.
Lita.
And there was blood. Did you stick her with the knife? Or
No, she fell with the knife because I shoved her.
Okay, so she get the knife back from you?
We both had it in our hands a few times.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to get it right in my head, you know what I mean? So.
Because she stuck me first.
Okay.
What?
And I don't remember why she kept calling me.
If she stuck her, where's her injuries? Right, Keisha? No.
You mean like still calling you a liar, or just still calling you something else?
That's crazy.
She told me that I was gonna rot. And that she'd kill me.
Okay.
If I touched her again.
I bet she did.
Was this before y'all started fighting or after?
So hard.
During
The
it.
fight? Okay.
Because she.
Yes, Kaylee. So the way that the victim met this woman is she was the one in the bed, the person who did it, Taylor, she was a amateur photographer, and she is who took the pictures at Reagan and her husband's wedding. And they did a sand pouring thing into a mason jar. The victim had the mark from the mason jar on her forehead from her hitting her with it. That is insane. Okay, but she basically blames it on the victim and says that the victim was calling her a liar and they got to fighting and then the victim poked her and then she did it and just, on and on about this like it was self-defense.
Seeing her fall. I don't remember seeing her just smack her face.
Okay, well that's fine. It's fine. So you're in the living room. Y'all been fighting,
right, Doo-Doo?
She went into
Yeah, because we moved the furniture and shit around.
Okay, so she falls, and she's got the knife. Did she fall on the knife? Is that what you believe, or is that what you know, or you don't know?
She had to because I didn't.
You didn't stab her?
I didn't stab her.
Okay, that's fine. So afterwards, did it look like she'd been, like the knife had hit her?
She grabbed something and started smacking herself with it and told me that they would believe I did it.
Oh, okay, so she started hitting herself with something. Okay. What?
Crazy.
Was that before or after she fell and started bleeding out of her neck?
That was after.
After she was bleeding out of her neck?
Yes.
Okay.
She cut her jugular vein in her neck. So that's why she was bleeding out of her neck.
So she picks up something and starts hitting herself with it, saying that
the audacity.
Setting you up, I guess.
She only said it like twice. She didn't just keep saying it.
Okay. Was she on the ground when she was doing that, or was she standing up?
She was standing up in the living room.
Okay. So what happened then? Did y'all fight some more? Or did she fall down? Or something else?
So we had to continue to fight.
Okay.
Right,
so
the
she's
nerve.
bleeding from her head, from her neck somewhere, possibly from her knife, falling on the knife. So she was pretty bloody then. Was there a lot of blood? Okay. Did you get a lot of blood on you?
Let's not also forget that Reagan's 3-year-old daughter was in the home at the time.
From her?
I think so.
At one point, she goes to the ground. All right. When was that? After y'all been fighting for a little while longer? Oh, okay.
Her dad had problems in my right eye.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. Now she's talking about her vision. Like, girl.
Did you get the knife that she had? Because I imagine it was laying there handy, or did you go get another knife?
No. I kept screaming for her to push.
Okay.
She said, take her.
So she kept screaming for her to push, and then she said, take her. Now, my thing was, if she cut the jugular, the only thing I can think of is that because of what they say and how they say Reagan was, I can imagine as a mother being pregnant, if you felt like you were going to leave this earth, she may have told her, you've got to get her out. Like I'm gone, because if the mother passes, the baby's going to pass. So I can imagine that once Reagan felt defeated and knew that her time was coming to an end, she may have told her, get the baby out. That could very well be. That's what I was thinking when I was watching the documentary, when she was saying that Reagan was telling her, like, I can't hold on any longer, like I'm dying, get her out. I could see that happening. I could see a mother knowing that things are going dark, things are going black, and I know I'm not going to hold on much longer. You've got to get my baby out of me to save the baby. I could understand as a mother where that would come from. Because if I was pregnant with a child that was viable, that I knew I'm 35 weeks pregnant and I felt like I was passing, that would be my priority. You've got to get the baby out. I'm not going to make it much longer. Um, so that little, because there's usually nuggets of truth to things, and I could see that being a little nugget of truth, just because of who Reagan was. I mean, they say, she was a mother, and they say she, one of the best mothers. I could see her saying, like, you've got to do this because now I'm going.
Oh, she wanted you to take her.
She said it a lot, but she would.
Oh yeah, that was awful, Christine.
She would push her.
She wouldn't come out, but she was wanting you to take her. Okay. So she asked you to take her. That's okay. Hey, listen, that's all right. I mean, you're thinking of the kid's best interest. Ambulance comes to get you in decaf at the church. You said you sat there for a while. Did you sit there for a while at the church?
No.
Okay. How's the baby doing today?
No, this is before.
Oh, that was before.
As soon as I got the baby, I flew to DeKalb.
Oh, okay.
I flew.
So she said as soon as she got the baby, she flew to DeKalb. Oh, so bad. Hold on one second. Yeah, if you're coming in and you don't know anything about this case, Taylor Parker, on October 9th of 2020, she had been a ladies photographer and befriended her. She had faked a pregnancy for 10 months. She was 2 weeks past her due date, and she had to find someone. So she found her friend that was 34, 35 weeks pregnant and did what she did. They said that also that one place, I think it was a ultrasound place, Taylor was supposed to have an appointment at this ultrasound place, and they saw her crying in the waiting room. And so they went out, and Taylor made up this big story and said that her husband was in the military and he had just got killed, that she couldn't do the ultrasound, that he wasn't going to be there, and the mom, I guess her mother wasn't going to be there. She gave some reason. And so they told her, like, oh, well, we'll give you an ultrasound, make you feel better. And she declined. But they said after she went outside that she stayed around and literally was watching women coming into like their appointments and stuff. And people thought after all this happened that she may have been like scoping people out to see if she could take their child, which is nuts. But I mean, she was Googling stuff and Googling places, and it was awful. Let me see here. All right, I'm trying to find this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Yeah. She was literally like scoping out places. She would go to places that pregnant women would go to and was literally like scoping out who she was going to get this baby from.
Netflix viewers have been left reeling by the case of Taylor
She even had license plate
the
written
woman
down.
who
Yep.
faked a pregnancy before brutally murdering her friend and stealing her unborn baby. Now 33, Parker stands as one of the youngest women on Texas death row, following the October 2020 slaying of 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock. While the new documentary Maternal Instinct features devastating interviews from Reagan's mother and Parker's ex-boyfriend, Wade Griffin, a massive amount of disturbing evidence from the 2022 trial was left on the cutting room floor. I'm Katie Forrester with the US Sun. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Reagan's mother
approached.
Is awful.
Prosecutors said she then killed Reagan before cutting her unborn baby from her womb using a scalpel before fleeing the scene. Parker was later stopped by police and claimed she had given birth at the side of the road, but her story quickly unraveled. Here we break down the top 7 details missing from the documentary. Number 1 is the silence from death row. While viewers saw Parker in social media clips, home videos, and police body cam footage, she was never actually interviewed from prison. Director Jessica Dimmock told USA Today that this was a deliberate creative choice. Rather than centering the narrative on the killer or granting her a platform, the production team chose to exclusively focus on the victims and the families whose lives were permanently shattered by this tragedy. Number 2, her mother knew the truth. Parker's mother, Shona Pryor, also never appeared in the film, yet her courtroom testimony was some of the trial's most explosive. Pryor revealed that she was actually present when Parker underwent a hysterectomy years prior, making a pregnancy physically impossible. When a friend sent Pryor a screenshot of Parker's gender reveal party invitation, Pryor texted her daughter asking, what should she tell people? Parker
Can you imagine your own daughter? You were with them. Now Taylor had 2 children. Taylor had 2 children already. So can you imagine as a mother, you see your daughter who's had a hysterectomy having a gender reveal and you don't say anything? Like so many people, just like her friends. So she had been married before, I think twice. And when she was married the second time, she was trying to find friends of hers to be surrogates, which they touched on in the documentary. And I get that none of them were attached to her at the time, but like I would have sent a Facebook message or something.
was blunt and told her mother to keep up with the lie, but the two barely spoke during her relationship with Wade.
Haley.
Her mother also said she told Wade's mother the truth and that she didn't feel she needed to take further action. According to court records, she said, "We figured the lie was going to be exposed. There were so many people who knew it was a lie and just kept on buying it." Number 3 is the graphic reality of the murder weapons. The documentary heavily toned down the sheer violence of the crime scene to spare viewers. Court records show that Parker actually utilized 3 separate weapons to carry out the pre-planned attack. She used a claw hammer to inflict 39 blunt force injuries, fracturing Reagan's skull in 5 places and breaking her nose. Parker then used a heavy 4-pound keepsake jar from inside the home, which she shattered over Reagan's head. Pre-packed into Parker's bag before she arrived was the medical scalpel, which she used to perform a C-section. In a gruesome discovery, forensic examiners found the scalpel blade lodged deep inside Reagan's neck after she died. Number 4 is distressing jailhouse phone calls. During the trial, prosecutors played recorded jail calls between Parker and her mother that exposed a chilling lack of remorse. In the recordings, Parker completely disassociated from the gravity of her actions, loudly complained about the district attorney stacking charges against her. She also dismissively referred to the brutal murder and fetal abduction as just one horrible thing. When her mother begged her to undergo a psychiatric evaluation, stating something is not right with you, Parker refused and aggressively changed the subject. Number 5 is how her boyfriend was deceived. The ultimate question floating across social media after this Netflix documentary was released is how her boyfriend, Wade Griffin, could not have noticed her fake pregnancy. Wade testified in court that while he had passing doubts, Parker introduced strict rules to their relationship. He told the court, "I've got my mum telling me one thing, Taylor telling me another, but I've been with Taylor this whole time, so I'm going with her." The jury heard that he did continue to have a sexual relationship during the fake pregnancy, but Taylor strictly controlled the environment. She insisted on having the lights completely off during intimacy, ensuring he couldn't see her body clearly. As her fake due date approached and her alleged bump grew, she then claimed she was experiencing severe complications and was at a high risk for a miscarriage. This was the main excuse she used to keep Wade from touching her. Number 6 is the attempted cleanup. When Parker was pulled over at the side of the road after the murder, they did everything they could to save Reagan's baby. Parker, however, was entirely focused on herself. A nurse who stopped to help testified that Parker showed an unusual urgency to erase the physical evidence, repeatedly asking, "Can I get this stuff off me? I want to get this blood off me." She used bottled water to wash her face and feet and even made gagging noises, stating the victim's blood disgusted her. Number 7 is a history of child neglect. The documentary bypassed Parker's background as a parent to her own 2 children from previous relationships. During the sentencing phase, her brother, Zachary Morton, testified to a long history of neglect. Court records also show following a 2017 divorce that Parker voluntarily signed away custody of her son. Family members testified that whenever Parker was chasing a man, her children were pushed to the back burner. Following her death row conviction, Parker's mother assumed full custody of her daughter, whose father is not in the picture. Well, the Netflix documentary has only been out for a few days, but I know all of you true crime junkies are already getting into this case.
Crazy. So she signed over her son, and then, so I guess he's with the dad, and then I don't know where the little girl is. But the jail phone calls and then all of the stuff that she was doing in jail is crazy work. I want to show, she had a bunch of stuff going on at the jail. They said that she continually like rips her clothing and stuff so that it can be more revealing, but then will call her dad, her parents on the phone and say that she needs more clothes. She apparently owes the county like $2,500, I guess, for medical bills. So they want that before they will allow her, at least at one point, before they would allow her to put anything on commissary. And so she would have her mom to put it on other people's commissary for her. And that, of course, was, repeated violations of jail policy because of that. But they said that she has been repeatedly and continuously engaged in creating chaos, basically, in the jail, with all of her different things. Like, she even had one girl named Hannah, because her boyfriend had said she practices different people's handwriting. And she would like write these things for this Hannah girl, which they have said is like mentally ill or whatever. And she was basically trying to get them to confess to different things to try to get her out of it. Like, she's had several schemes. She's tried to pay people, said promises that she would pay them if they would, say different things to try to get her out of it. I mean, she's had like scandal after scandal, scheme after scheme while she's been incarcerated, which is crazy. But she's tried everything because she feels like she can manipulate shit to get people to believe her. She thinks, well, if I could just manipulate them a little bit, I can get out of this, which is crazy. There it is. Like, I'm trying to find this because this was crazy. So this was the investigator that was on the crime scene, or at the crime scene, and he talks about it a little. They talk about it a little bit.
Shoe impressions. I got to looking at shoe impressions, and we determined there were two different style of shoe impressions. Okay, we had those two, and as we were starting to do our thing, then word come out that a state trooper had stopped a woman in DeKalb and had delivered a baby and was going to Idabel. Well, we're thinking she's in DeKalb. Why wasn't she going to St. Michael's? Why wasn't she going to Mount Pleasant? Why Idabel? Mm-hmm. And it was a dispatcher that actually turned the detectives onto, say, hey, just a little while ago, we had a trooper said a woman delivered a baby on the side of the road. But they started checking into that. Come to find out, it was Parker that had the baby and was heading to Oklahoma. And the reason she was heading to Oklahoma is because she's already burned bridges in St. Michael's and Mount Pleasant. She couldn't use either one of the hospitals because she's had a hysterectomy or a partial hysterectomy, and she couldn't have any children. Mm-hmm. And so once we found out it was an abduction of the child, then you kind of start honing in on, okay, now what do we look for? Is this an abduction of somebody that come in the house and took? You kind of start changing your mind and your theories a little bit about what's going on.
Plus, the husband was pretty much alibied out.
Yeah.
He'd been at work the whole entire time during the homicide, so we knew he was out. You know, like we were saying, as soon as he called me and told me of the case, I did the same thing. We go through the scenarios. And I had already had the same 3 scenarios. The whole entire time I'm driving through Boston, I'm thinking, how many deputies and troopers can I pull to go start searching every roadway, dumpster in the area to try to find the child? Because typically, it's either one of 2 things. Either they take the baby to take for themselves, or they're taking it to dispose of the baby. So we were going through that scenario. And like you said, I was actually medical leave with my wife, and she actually gave me a very mean look for actually agreeing to go to the case. But I knew the complexity of the case was going to be, it needed to be done.
So when we got the search warrants and everything, and we get inside the residence, you kind of just step back and you kind of just you let the scene talk to you. And it kind of sounds corny, but it's blood tells you a lot of things. Okay, and so you sit back and you look, and we're looking at all the blood. There's blood everywhere. There was a bloody jar in the kitchen. There was a bloody jar full of sand in the living room. There was.
What do you mean a bloody jar? There was so much blood that blood was overflowing into a jar,
Okay, yeah, it was mason jars.
Okay.
And it was actually from their wedding. You know how you pour the sand into the mason jars for weddings?
Okay.
One of them was empty, and the other one had the sand in it. I believe the one in it was about 4 pounds, I think is what we...
I'd have to look at it again.
I can't
4
recall.
or 5 pounds worth of sand.
It was a
heavy weight.
And when I say blood was on it, I'm talking blood transfer from like a hand onto it.
Okay, got you.
And looking
And
at
spatter.
her, and spatter and things like that. And looking at the blood on that, then, it was like, well, she was beaten with one of these jars. Once we started looking at the body, she had an indentation on her head that we knew come from a jar, probably come from the jar with the sand in it because it's a heavier object. And when we first started looking, we had blood everywhere. So our first initial thought was this woman fought for her life. She fought this suspect, this person come in, she fought. That was our first hypothesis, but once we started the investigation and started looking at things, and once Taylor Park was arrested, she had no injuries on her. So that indicates to us her fingernails are broken, the victim's fingernails are broken, and things like that. She was covering up. She was ambushed. She was hit. She's covering up the whole time, and she's being beaten with something. She's been beaten in the back of the head. She was, fingers were broke. She's got bruising on her arms where she was just taking a beating, and she's covering up. Well, we got blood in the kitchen, and we got blood in the living room, and we got blood at the front door. And
this is happening everywhere in the house. She's running away while she's
trying to escape the assault, and
she got assaulted right at the door at the kitchen, in the garage door.
And again, let's not forget, the whole time this is going on and she is running from this woman, they just hung out the night before. And Reagan's 3-year-old daughter is in the house while this is going on.
Whenever she was assaulted, I believe she was hit in the back of the head with an object, either a hammer or a crowbar. And it takes more than one hit to start blood spatter. The first hit lacerates the skin. So whenever she was hit, she starts bleeding, and we had blood on a refrigerator that was blood spatter from hair. You could tell it was from hair, where she went down, she got up, she tried to run out the front door, was attacked at the front door, brought back in the living room, and then she was brutally attacked there. Up against the wall, we had the blood spatter on the wall. You could pretty much, with the blood, look at everywhere she had been. And I'll never forget, we're sitting there, we're looking at it, and we weren't saying a word to each other. We're just looking because we're just trying to soak everything in because there's so much. And I looked at my partner and I said, she was alive when that baby was taken. And he says, I think you're right. And the reason we come to that conclusion was because of the blood and the absence of blood. We could tell by the blood spatter and the blood stains where she was at when the baby was fully removed. She was on her back when we got there. And we knew she had been moved because of the blood. So one of our first questions is, who moved the body?
Which
Well, nobody
they did.
knew who moved the body because it was such a traumatic thing.
Right. What happened when they were on the 911 call, which if you've not heard Reagan's mom's 911 call, it will shake you to your core, because they're on the 911 call. She realizes her something's been done, and when they get there, she's laying on her stomach. So they can't tell that the baby has been taken. And then they realize, oh my God, the 3-year-old's in there. Well, they had to step over the body to get to the 3-year-old. And the 3-year-old was hiding in her room under a blanket. And they said, or like had a blanket. And the guy that went in her room said when he went in, she jumped and like put the blanket over her head until she realized it was him and came running or whatever. So while they're on the phone with 911, they say, well, we got to find out if the baby's there. So they flipped her over, and then that's when they realized that what had really happened to her. Which I can't imagine when they realized that.
Nobody could remember, so we played video back, and it was the EMT, the paramedic that come in. He pulled her over to check for the baby, and you could see him. He looks and he stands up, and you can see the look on his face, and he looks back down, and that's when he sets back up and he goes, that baby's gone. So she was on her back, but she died on her stomach, and the blood told us that. So that was an indication to us that she was still alive, because you're not going to get a baby out of somebody with them laying on their stomach, you know. So once that baby was pulled from her, which she fought for, as she was walking off, you could tell she was trying to go after her and then died on the floor.
And that's what, when I mentioned that this
Oh
case
my
had
God.
a profound impact on us.
So in their investigation, they truly believe that
We're both parents.
they truly believe that she was alive when Taylor got the baby out. The reason she was on her stomach is because once Taylor got the baby out and started walking away with the baby, she flipped over to try to reach for the baby and reach for Taylor, and that's where she passed. Which is just awful.
We could just imagine the terror she went through knowing she's dying and
Right,
this
Laura.
person is taking her child. I couldn't imagine that. I mean, that everyone in our unit were parents. So that's what bugged us the most, and that what left a psychological impact on us was knowing that fact and knowing that she's alive during this.
The horror that she was going through during that whole altercation. Go ahead.
And we were plenty of murders where they fought for their lives or stuff like that, and they went through terror as well. But like I said, a parent losing their child this way and not knowing what's going to happen to that child is unfathomable for us.
And she put up an effort, and the reason we know that she had struggled and tug of war with a baby is one of her broken fingernails. She had like press-on nails, and we found 3 at the house, and we were missing 1. Well, that fingernail was found in the uterus of the child whenever they recovered the uterus. So she was pulling hard enough for her to lose a nail. So now we know we've got somebody in there, and we know from experience what we have got to do. We got to determine how many suspects. How many? Was it 1 person? Was it 2 people? Was it 3 people that come in here and done that? Well, looking at the scene, it was obvious to us with the blood and the things at the scene that it was just a single person. It was a single person that committed this crime. And the reason we can confidently say that is because at the scene we had 2 different types of shoe impressions. Okay? So you're going to assume one is suspects, one is victims. Well, as we start doing these shoe impressions with this, I say shoe impressions, they're blood impressions of shoe prints. You know, walking in blood, and they're transferring that blood all over the floor. And we only had 2 different types of shoes. Well, we found out that Taylor Parker, when she was arrested, was wearing a pair of Crocs. Those Crocs were shown to the victim's mother. The victim said, "Those are my daughter's Crocs." She said, "I bought those Crocs for her. Those are her." Those were there at the house. So during all this altercation, Taylor Parker's wearing a pair of shoes, or sandals is what she was wearing because of the shoe impression. She was wearing sandals, and then after she got the baby and all that, and she left, she cleaned up, and she took the victim's shoes to put them on to leave. So the shoe prints that belonged to the victim was actually Taylor Parker walking around the house after she was deceased, walking through blood and cleaning up and things like that. We knew one was a Croc. The other one we didn't know, and we searched and searched and searched for the type of pattern that it was, and we knew it was a sandal. The reason we knew it was a sandal was because we have her on video at an Easy Mart right before the murders, and she was wearing a white pair of sandals. So we're focused on sandals, and we searched for days and days and days.
And when he means search, we're actually going to shoe stores all around town, actually taking sandals, looking at the bottom of it, and having a photo of the shoe impression going, no, that's not a match.
Going on the internet, looking at images on the internet. Does this pattern type match up? So that pattern got instilled in my brain.
And that's why that's what helped her to get the death sentence, is because they said when the baby was born, the baby was alive. The baby was viable. The baby was alive. However, the baby, like some babies, especially at 34, 35 weeks, they can be born and have a little trouble breathing. Well, also, if she's not suctioning the baby, if the baby's not suctioned or its airway is not cleared out, some babies can have trouble, especially if they don't go through the birth canal. So when a baby goes through the birth canal, because it squeezes and all that stuff, it kind of helps the baby's lungs and everything kind of get started up, and all that stuff gets stirred around. But a C-section baby, it's even more important, in my opinion, probably, to suction them and things. So they're saying that the baby was born alive, but because of it didn't get immediate medical attention, it went without oxygen. And again, that can be, I'm sure even women in here, you know, there's some babies, they don't necessarily have to be to the NICU, but they just need a little bit of extra help to either be suctioned or to have a little extra supplemental oxygen at first, just to kind of get them started, right? And because this baby didn't have that, the baby therefore was a loss of oxygen and then later passed away. Because if you remember, when she got pulled over, she said the baby had been born 35 minutes ago. So I would imagine that while she's cleaning up, that was probably the time that the child needed that emergency care, and the baby probably would have survived.
And so I was in Fort Smith visiting my grandbabies, and I was walking through the house, and I looked down, and there was a sandal. My daughter's sandals were sitting over by the couch. And so I looked at them, I thought, So I went over and I picked it up, and as soon as I picked it up, I said, that's the design. And I went in there, I said, "Where did you get these sandals?" She goes, "They're just sandals from Walmart." And so when I got back, I took pictures of it, and I told him, I said, "This is the brand of shoe." So we went to Walmart, and the year before is when they stopped that pattern on those sandals. So they were older sandals, and the new ones didn't have that.
Right.
So what we did is I got online on eBay and found a pair of sandals that looked just like the ones that was in our blood shoe print. So once I bought those off of eBay, and when I got them, to indicate that she was walking around in these shoes carrying something that was bloody.
And I think in Taylor Parker's mind, she thought the assault would be like on TV. I hit her in the head once, she'll go down unconscious.
Right. That's exactly what she was thinking.
What I need to do and be done and out of here. She didn't realize it takes a lot more than that to knock somebody out effectively. And like he said, we originally thought it was
Not only knocked him out, you've got a mother home with her 3-year-old, pregnant with another baby. Mama Bear is going to come out and they're going to fight, honey. The will to survive can be strong in people. And I think Taylor Parker thought she was going to come through that door, hit her over the head, and it was going to be like the movies, and she was going to go down, and she was going to be able to, perform this C-section on her, and it was all going to go right.
knockdown, drag out fight. Then come to find out it wasn't. There's still a lot of things that we never recovered. We never recovered Taylor's actual shoes.
We never recovered
the hammer or whatever.
Or crowbar, or whatever
she
it
used
was.
to beat on her. We never recovered that.
Cell phones. Never found the cell phones. Never found the victim's cell phone. Never found
Taylor's.
They had some of Taylor's, but not one. Hers they didn't find. She had several different cell phones because she would text herself being somebody else. And that's what's amazing. And we brought up the husband earlier because that's going to be one of your first primary suspects. And one of the things that we had to battle in court is people couldn't believe that the husband didn't know about it. And
Taylor's husband?
Taylor's husband,
Okay,
yeah.
Taylor's.
That Taylor's the suspect's husband couldn't have known about it. They said, well, they would have had to know that she was pregnant. Well, people don't understand. She bought a prosthetic belly. She had a prosthetic belly. She had bought sonograms. She had bought all this stuff. And you can go online, fakeapregnancy.com, and you can buy everything you need to make somebody think that you're pregnant. And this guy thought she was pregnant. And she was texting herself because they have a hog farm and they sell hogs. She told her husband, look, I'm going to Idabel because they're going to do a C-section, take this baby. He said, well, I'm going with you. She said, well, you can't. He says, well, why not? She said, remember, we've got to sell these hogs to this guy that was, 3 hours away?
Something like that.
3 hours away, you got to go sell these hogs. And he said, well, I'll go sell the hogs, then I'll come to the hospital. She said, perfect. I think in her mind, two things going to happen. She either had the baby or she lost the baby. So the husband gets to the farm and drives up and tells the farmer guy, hey man, I'm here. And he goes, why are you here? He said, well, I brought these hogs that you've been wanting. He says, I'm not buying any hogs. I don't want any hogs. And come to find out, she had been texting herself back and forth, showing him this hog sale, but she's the one doing all of it to get him 3 hours away so she could go try to have this baby. It was all planned out.
Not to mention, she had befriended other pregnant women that were all similar in due dates. So she had backup plans that if she couldn't get to this one, she'd get to the others. And unfortunately, it's just Reagan that was found and became the victim of it.
And it's just, the impact that it has had on us, like we say, it's something that'll never be forgotten. And I made the statement standing right there in the living room. I told him, I said, I'm through saying I've seen it all. Because every time I say I see it all, something worse happens. I said, so I've taken that out of my vocabulary. I no longer use that.
Because fetal abduction murders are so rare. I actually looked it up, and I think there's only 2 reported cases in the year 2020. One in Brazil and one in New Boston, Texas. That's how rare these kind of cases are. So, like he said,
she was actually in talks for 3 different properties totaling $20 million. And she pretended to be every different person. She pretended to be the Uncle Butch. She pretended to be the bank, the person in charge of the oil riches or trust or whatever. Like, she was all these different people. And that's why she would practice like writing and stuff, because she would practice all these different signatures, and all these schemes that she was trying to pull off in the background. She was everybody. Like, she would tell the realtor, oh, I got this Uncle Butch, and I've got, a trust in the oil company and all these things. And they would get all these letters from people. Supposedly it was all her. Every single person was her. It's crazy. But then when she went to jail, she still kept doing that. She had inmates that she was going to pay money, and they would just have to write a statement about what happened or go to the cops and say, this is what happened. Like, she had all kinds. Like I said, she took advantage of this girl named Hannah in jail that was either had mental issues or may have been like challenged, mentally challenged, and she had her. She actually went to the cops. Hannah went to the cops with some different things, and then they figured it out that she was being coerced by Taylor Parker.
We try not to jinx ourselves, and we have seen quite a bit. Some
Yeah, he
really
didn't
messed
care,
up cases,
Kaylee.
different types of scenarios. In her arms, she says she delivered on the side of the road. I'm not going to doubt it at first. And she went through some extremes to actually try to make it look like she gave birth. And it wasn't until she got to the hospital and the doctors actually confirmed, said, nope, you never gave birth. And she, even to that time, she is still lying to Oklahoma police saying, no, it's my baby. I gave birth to it. Even after the doctor told her, no, it's not medically possible, until she finally started giving up a little bit here and there.
And when the trooper pulled her over, she actually had the umbilical cord stuffed down
in her pants.
Yes. So the trooper had no, you walk up, she's holding the baby. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to get an ambulance. That's all you can do. You can't do anything else.
CPR would have been nice.
But luckily, I think he was going to pull her over because she was speeding, and then she called 911 asking for help. I just had a baby on the side of the road, and that's why it was like back to back. She knew that, hey, I'm fixing to get stopped, and she was just another part of the plan. For shoes and just trying to piece things together. I couldn't begin to tell you how many man hours
We had
took.
hours in the lab going.
Let me. I think I have it pulled up already. If it'll let me see it, this probably won't. Let's see. Here. I was trying to find where it talked about. Okay. So, prosecutors say that Parker planned a twisted and extremely complicated plot to frame a fellow inmate, Hannah, for the capital murder of Reagan. She allegedly wrote a handwritten witness statement instructing Hannah to claim she saw a man taking quote unquote drug drops around the jail and that the same vehicle was seen at the murder scene. Prosecutors note Hannah was described as mentally fragile and afraid of Parker's ability to manipulate correctional officers and other inmates. The alleged goal was to have Hannah appear as a suspect, which Parker believed would secure her release and dismiss all of her charges. She also said that she repeatedly and continuously engaged in criminal behavior while in jail, including welfare and benefits fraud, medical bill fraud, for example, arranging for her parents to send large amounts of commissary money to avoid paying medical costs. So that's because they wouldn't let her have any money on her commissary, so they sent it to other people. She also allegedly lied about her medical history and status to jail authorities. She is currently on death row. I believe all of her what's it called? Her appeals have been exhausted, but death row cases go into this, I guess go into this phase. So technically they're not scheduled her, they haven't scheduled her execution date yet. Let's see here. I was trying to find, hold on, let me see. Trying to find this list because I had found it before. Okay, let me read you this list. Let me put my picture back up here. Okay, let me read you this list. Okay, court documents from the appeal of Taylor Renee Parker reveal that Reagan, which is the victim, was subjected to horrific, multifaceted assault before her death in New Boston. According to the record, the state described the scene as a slaughtered woman in her home and a fetal abduction. Crime scene technician testified that Parker attacked her in several places around the house, multiple strikes in each location, and she continued standing and walking while bleeding before being pushed to the floor. She had 113 sharp force injuries, including 15 stab wounds and 98 incised wounds. She had 2 wounds that perforated her jugular vein, several wounds that went all the way to the bone, 39 blunt force injuries, primarily to the face and the head, a broken nose, and 5 skull fractures. Dr. Flores indicated that injuries to the head suggested she may have been struck with a hammer, and there was evidence of possible strangulation. I'm wondering if the hammer was actually the mason jar. Due to massive blood loss, some wounds. This is another reason how they could tell whether she was alive or not. But due to massive blood loss, some of the wounds did not bleed because of her low blood pressure. After after she did what she did to Hancock, she performed a crude C-section to remove the unborn child, cutting a large incised wound across the abdomen, hip to hip, removing the uterus, placenta, and the umbilical cord. So she removed the uterus and then flipped it and cut it open. These injuries were central to the prosecution's case, underscoring the brutality of the attack and severity of the capital murder charge. She was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death in November 2022. I mean, that right there. And again, like I said, during all of this, her 3-year-old was in the home. So I can only imagine that the 3-year-old was in the living room, in the area of where this was happening at one point. I'm sure that she hammer and mason jar. They aren't sure which one first. So I would only guess that the 3-year-old saw some of this. They do say that Reagan's husband never went back to the house except for one time he went back to get some belongings, but he did move from the house, which I don't know how you could live there. And I believe the little girl, the 3-year-old, which is such a sad thing for her father passed away shortly after Reagan did. So both her father and mother have passed away. And I believe that Reagan's husband that was with her when she passed still has custody of the 3-year-old from what I'm reading. He still has custody, although he has moved on and he does have another significant other in his life. Reagan's parents support that and say he's in his 20s. He should have, he should move on. There's no reason for him to not be with anyone the rest of his life. But they say that the 3-year-old little girl is so traumatized that that she can't even be around a pregnant woman because she starts freaking out because she feels like something like that is going to happen. And she was only 3 when that happened. So, it's so awful. So awful. There's so much more to this, guys. But we've been on here for almost 2 hours already, so I am going to end it here. But there is so much more to this. Yes, I did see the husband go up to Reagan's casket and fall to his knees. I believe that was on the documentary. So prayers for him and that poor little baby and all of their family. Oh, it's just awful that somebody would do this. There is another story that is similar to this. Like I was telling you guys, I was watching it earlier where the mother, this happened to her, and she actually lived and was able to call 911 only to find out that her baby did not. Yeah, well, they do interviews because they were on the documentary, but I get what you're saying. I hear that his new wife makes some odd comments about Reagan. Oh, you heard it over on the Clock app. I'll have to check that out. I do know he has moved on and he is, I mean, they say he's a really good guy and he's taking care of her daughter. And I just hate for the little girl. I mean, she lost her mom and then she lost her dad. And, I can't imagine. Right? That's what I was thinking about Doo. I was like, oh my God, what if he gets his new wife pregnant? Like, they say that she's very traumatized. So, uh, I think they're still I think they're still in contact. And like I said, his mom had said, I don't know what outlet she had told it to, but she had told an outlet like, he's in his 20s, he should be happy. And that's what Reagan would want him to do. So I believe they're still in contact, and I'm sure she still has a relationship with the little girl. Okay, two T's. I remember the story when the pregnant woman went to buy baby clothes off Craigslist. I remember that too. And they killed her and took their baby. Yep. Well, this one was a story I saw on YouTube. Um, but like I said, she lived. This chick lived and called 911. But then they ended up, I'm not sure. I don't think I watched it all the way through to find out where they found the baby or whatever. But I'm going to watch the rest of that. But yeah, so I might bring a little bit more about this story. Also, we may talk about some more of the other stuff that's happened in jail and just all the things. Oh, I did want to show this one though. There was one more video I wanted to show you guys. I forgot. See. Actually, there was kind of two more, but let's at least watch this one because I think it was the producer, whoever made the documentary. I'm not sure what their title was, but they talked about why they decided basically not to interview her. They did a whole interview and talked about why they chose not to. Why she wasn't interviewed. There it is. I was like, oh, I got this damn video already pulled up. Where is it? Okay. Let's watch this one. This one explains a little bit of where she is now. Hey, Marisol. Yeah, Homer's a good guy, and I can only imagine. I wouldn't want to go back to that house either.
This woman said, take my baby and leave and expect me to believe that.
I was certified as the expert in OBGYN for the trial, and even I kind of broke down on the stand because of how she did it.
Taylor Parker is currently behind bars in Texas, where she's one of only 7 women serving on the state's death row. Per KTAL, her Supreme Court appeal last month was denied after Taylor's attorneys argued she didn't get a fair trial.
I asked how she came about and what she had done before, and she said one of her friends had recommended her and she was trying to stay budget friendly, so this person was ideal for that.
Reagan Hancock's killer was someone she befriended only 1 year earlier. The Texas woman's family detailing their backstory in the documentary Maternal Instinct.
Her name was Taylor Parker. Very polite young lady, real pretty. She was a lot like Reagan to me.
I can't imagine.
The moments she captured of Reagan and the wedding were absolutely beautiful. And Taylor made sure she greeted everybody and told everyone who she was and what she was doing there.
The Netflix doc covering Reagan's murder at the hand of her wedding photographer turned friend, who was convicted of capital murder in the deaths of Reagan and her unborn child.
If she does ask God for forgiveness, I pray that she means it. Because for a demon like her, a demon like Taylor, hell would be easy.
Reagan's mother, Jessica Brooks, and sister, Emily Shirey, now pushing for legislation to protect pregnant women, with Emily telling people, then my sister's murder will not have been in vain. Taylor was found guilty and sentenced to death in November 2022.
Half of me died. Half of me died.
You could hear it on that 911 call, but her picture does not even look like her. Like, she looks unrecognizable in jail.
And it's not coming back. The Jessica that I used to be.
Right, doo-doo?
Is gone. And the part that's left is a part that I never knew was there. When I found her and
that's awful.
Days and weeks after that, it was like I had to tell myself, yes, she was real. Yes, she was here, It wasn't my imagination.
Oh. Just awful. Just an awful case. I swear. Hold on. Hold on. Oh yeah, it just breaks your heart. Oh, the 911 call of her on that 911 call, I've listened to the extended version. Oh, it's awful. It is awful.
Women do fake a pregnancy to keep a relationship. You don't think that someone's going to do this. I'm Jessica Dimmock. I'm the director of Maternal Instinct.
And I'm Samantha DiMaria, and I'm a producer of Maternal Instinct.
Why was this a story that you both felt you wanted to share with the world?
You know, there is something so specific in this story. The lengths to which Taylor goes to lie and deceive just felt like this was a story that really needed telling. The kind of brutality and cruelty of the way that she takes Reagan's life, the kind of like care, the total lack of care and empathy for, you know, anyone but herself. And so, you know,
I mean, look at that picture. That to me does not look anything like her pictures before on social media. Doesn't look like her in any of like the body cam. Like I wouldn't even think if somebody showed me a picture of her, I would not have put the two together. Yes, her mother found her because the husband kept texting and was texting and texting. He got a couple weird text messages from her phone about like basically it sounded like she was like breaking up and leaving her man. And then so he got worried and he kept trying to call and call and call. And when he didn't get a hold of her, he sent the mom there. The mom went with her husband and her husband's friend, and when she walked she realized the garage door was open, which was unusual, and when she walked in she saw her, and she called 911. And oh, it was just hearing the phone call, then they realized that the 3-year-old was still in the house, and so they had to step over. She couldn't do it, she didn't want her husband to do it, so they had her husband's friend go in and step over the body to get the little girl. But then they realized that they had to figure out what happened to her and find out if the baby was there or not.
Felt like a really compelling story that's about red flags. It's about listening to your
Yeah.
gut. It's about
Yeah, that morning when she left, she let the dog out. And so the neighbor had called the husband and said, "Hey, I got your puppy. I'm going to put it back in the yard before I go to work." So the neighbor dropped the puppy in the yard. Like I think it was a black lab, dropped the puppy in the yard and went to work, not thinking nothing of it. And that was another red flag. They couldn't get a hold of her. Then the neighbors got the dog, and so they sent the mom. I guess she was closer, but yeah, she's who found her.
redefining what danger looks like. Like this is not what we think of when we think of danger. And so, yeah.
I mean, all of what Jessica's saying, it's like this Taylor isn't sort of this normal looking perpetrator, right? She is like the everyday girl. She's bubbly, she's cute, she's fun. And that, like so many of our participants in the film kind of echo, it's like she sort of was this like evil in plain sights at the end of the day. And I think it's really trying to understand like how something like this could happen. And nobody thinks it could happen in anywhere in America, let alone like a small tight community like this. And in this particular case, Taylor sort of used the very nature of like the close-knit relationships in this small town against the very people that she victimized across the board, including Reagan, and obviously as like her ultimate victim.
And speaking of Reagan, a lot of her family members have been participating in the documentary. Why do you think this was something that her family wanted to be a part of?
I think it's so clear that Reagan was kind of failed by a system that is ultimately designed to protect us. Like HIPAA laws are there to protect, you know, everyday citizens. And in this case, it was those very laws, the kind of structure of them that didn't allow for people that knew full well, like you know, no question that Taylor was lying. And
Yeah.
so I think obviously there is a desire on the family's part to make sure that something like this never happens again. And
Oh.
if there were things that failed Reagan,
Yeah, Kaylee.
could they be amended? Could they be changed? Also, like, you know, I think finding out when they went through the trial, finding out some of the tactics that Taylor used in terms of how she was able to accessorize these lies, like um buying, a fake pregnant belly, being able to forge sonogram and ultrasound um documentation, like all the way down to like being able to put her name in, being able to put it in the health clinic. Like all of that is scary that we can do this. And so I think a lot of it is about, shining light on all of the ways that there were other things that helped Taylor. Ultimately, Taylor is the person that did all these things, but there were other things around her that kind of emboldened her and allowed her to do her crime.
And speaking of Taylor, can you talk a bit about the decision to not include an interview with Taylor herself? Didn't know if she wasn't available or you simply didn't want to include her.
Yeah, I can speak to that as well. So we decided not to interview Taylor. My feeling was that it felt so important to give all of the victims of her crime, and obviously Reagan and her family are the most severe and the biggest victims in this, but other people that she deceived, other people that she hurt along the way, coworkers, former friends, and it just felt like it really needed to be told from their perspective. We have plenty of Taylor in there, all of the lies that she tells, we have her text messages, we have videos of her, but it felt like, I think as a director, I was like, what is she going to say? Like, what I don't believe, from everything that I've read, from the way that the trial went, like, I don't think she's remorseful. Doesn't really seem to be evidence that she's remorseful. If she said she was remorseful, could I even believe her? And does that matter? And so I wasn't sure that there was anything she could say that would be additive or that I could believe. And it felt disrespectful to those that she hurt the most to like include her take.
I wanted to ask Jessica, what kind of impact did this seem to have on Wade Griffin particularly and his family?
Wade in particular was so much of this revolved around him because all of these lies are really about keeping him. And so while she's lying to everyone else, her lies to Wade are really like also about him. They're not about anything else. They're about like trying to keep this man. And so I think him realizing that she would go to such horrific lengths to maintain a relationship has been awful. I think there's a lot of guilt. I think there's just like a lot of guilt and remorse about, like, I think for everyone, there's a lot of like, could I have done something differently? I wish I had
Right,
acted
Keisha?
differently. But of course,
No, she doesn't.
a thing that we also heard time and time again is like, even amongst the people that really knew that Taylor was lying, like, you don't think she's going to do this.
I feel like once they
Women-
realized that she was past just like the OBGYN's office, they were obviously tied. I feel like, when does it become, though? Here's my question to you guys. When does it become, because of course HIPAA is in place, right? But when does HIPAA become irrelevant when she gets past the miscarriage phase? Like they were, bound by HIPAA that they couldn't say anything. They put the hospitals on high alert, that kind of thing. But it's like, at what point does HIPAA go out the window in something like this? Granted, not many people thought she was going to go to this extreme, but they knew she was going to have to produce a baby one way or the other or something, right? So I just wonder, like, is that something that we should look into? Because they could, again, the OBGYNs and stuff couldn't say anything. They couldn't call up her husband and be like, hey, Wade, like, your girl's not pregnant. She had a hysterectomy. But it's like, could they have reported it to the police? And the police, I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be something that we learn from this to go forward, because this should not be able to be should be able to happen. Like, and even those friends that knew, like, they could have reached out on a fake Facebook account. They could have done something. Like, damn. The girl I know, Stormy, doesn't do anything like that. She literally faked at least 5 to 7 pregnancies. I haven't heard from her in years. Yeah, well, I mean, they say that like they thought that she was going to make up this, scenario where she had a miscarriage, but once she's so many months, like, and the fact that she was due September 22nd and this was October 9th, like they really thought that she was that overdue and it was her third baby.
Faking
Crazy.
pregnancies is not unheard of. I always
Right,
say, like, it's
Smile.
not a particularly nice or moral thing to do, but it's not unheard of. Sometimes women do fake a pregnancy to keep a relationship. You don't think that someone's going to do this. So yeah.
Was it difficult for him to recount his story, or why do you think that he wanted to be a part of this project?
I do think it was particularly difficult for Wade to recount his story. I think it's hard for everyone. I think it was particularly hard for him. I think that everyone on some level wants people to understand like what was going on and what it was like. I think people want to be in the driver's seat of their own story, like have it, especially if there's going to be talk about it, at least have it come from their own mouths, express all of the like many complex emotions that go on. And so I think even with Wade, which I think it was really hard for him, but I think,
I feel like Wade just had this like nonchalant attitude. I mean, he even said, and I hope she sees, which usually they don't see their own cases like in jail or in prison or whatever, but I hope somebody comes in and tells her about the fact that in the documentary he said he never loved her. I hope she hears that because I feel like that may be one thing that may hurt her just a little bit. Um, but he just was so nonchalant about it, I feel like, because people, his friends, those friends on the documentary had told him she's not pregnant. His mother had told him she's not pregnant. The mother, even from what they've reported, even told Taylor to her face that she's the one who called in the bomb threat or whatever, because she was supposed to be induced that day at a certain hospital. And oh, voila, they get a bomb threat, you know. And it's not like this Reagan thing was the first thing. She was supposed to be induced, they get a bomb threat. Then she's supposed to be induced, and Wade's house catches on fire, and they say it's arson. Like, obviously, she was gearing up to keep doing whatever she had to do to keep this lie going. It's just crazy. Yeah, she had a gender reveal with the whole cow and everything. Yeah, he didn't have discernment. I think it wasn't even discernment. I think he just didn't give a shit because he was told by multiple people she's not. I hate to say it, but like if I was a man and multiple people were telling me that your wife is not pregnant, I don't give a shit what her quote unquote rules were about, lights off and all this shit. You best believe that I would have been putting my hands on her stomach. I'd have been figuring out if this chick was really pregnant or not. I will say that she did have videos where she would like pooch her stomach out and then like, all of us that have had pregnancies can probably do it. Pooch your stomach out and make your stomach jump around like a baby's kicking in there. So she did do that, but there's just no way. If that many people were telling me that your wife is faking it, my ass would have been too nosy not to find out what she looked like naked. Like I would have to know. Yeah, he was still very nonchalant. Yeah, Reagan's man was Homer. Wade was Taylor Parker's man. Yeah, the text said, "Bruh, I know she had a hysterectomy for a fact." That's what I'm saying. Like, I would have been making sure I saw something, especially after she got the silicone belly. Like, yeah, I'd have been jerking that silicone belly off her ass.
Ultimately, he wanted to be able to say his piece and he wanted to be able to
Yeah, doo-doo.
explain what was going on in his head at the time.
Throughout this process of working
Yes,
on this
Keisha.
project, was there any moment in particular that really shocked you or stood out to you as a moment where you just couldn't believe that this was happening as you were researching or working on the project?
I mean, in a lot of ways, every moment of sort of unpacking this project was shocking. It's
I
hard
bet
to
it
sort of
was.
pinpoint one in particular because I think every time
No, he talked about that they were intimate, but she had very strict rules because she was insecure, so she didn't want the lights on and things like that. And then as she progressed and got further along in the pregnancy, he said that she would tell him that she was high risk, that she couldn't have X, and that she wasn't able to because of her complications. But at the beginning, basically, they were intimate, but she would want the lights off and all these things. It's like, even with the lights off, you can't feel your partner. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I don't have to have the lights on to be able to feel if you've got a belly or not. Um, I don't know.
I'd come across something new or hear a story from someone for
Right,
the first
Kaylee?
time about another something else that Taylor did, or another way she behaved, or something, an old story from the past, or even all of those things sort of like, you'd put away and store away as this like archive of information about this person as you're building. And I think I think it's shock over and over again as you understand who this person was, and sort of the depths and lies, and the volume of lies that she was spinning at the same time.
Well, see, that's another thing that helped her out is you have to understand this was during COVID. So she was pregnant during COVID. So as you guys know, nobody was allowed to come to the appointments or anything like that. Like, it was only the one person. So COVID protocol helped her in that sense because at the time the hospital was like on shutdown. OBGYNs, of course, they got pregnant women they have to worry about, so they're not letting like just a bunch of people come with the pregnant women. So yes, all this happened. The actual murder happened on October 9th, 2020. So all through that, from like March until October, everything was kind of shut down. So that helped her, sadly, in this. The fact that, he would say, like, oh, can I go? And, oh, it's COVID. Nobody can go, which is, perfect
So I don't know that
storm.
there's any one particular moment, but I think overall it was just continuously shocking over and over. And I think just as people seem to be sort of responding to it now, I think we've had the same feeling this whole process. Is like, how could this happen the entire time? We're like, how is this ever going to work?
Yep. I think that's the big thing for me is like, how in her mind did she ever think that this was going to be successful or that it was going to work? Like, did she not think at any time they were going to pull her blood for the HGC, or they were going to pull the baby's blood? Or did she even think about, obviously not, think about like different blood? What if the baby would have been, a different blood type, or a negative and a positive, like all these things like that clearly weren't going to line up. The fact that she thought she could just act like she had a baby and go to the hospital and they were going to be like, oh yeah, because you guys know after you have a baby you have to have fundus massage. They are checking to make sure that you're bleeding right, and they're like all down in there. So she was just going to go to the hospital and they were going to look at her and she has no blood or nothing. Like, come on now. I just don't understand. And like people said, she had children before this. So it's not like she wasn't aware of what goes on after you have a baby. She knew what they were going to do after the baby. Like, you were going to get a fundus massage and it's not even there. Like, they would have known right away. Come on now. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We've been on here for 2 hours, a lot longer than I expected, and still didn't get into all of it. But yeah, there's so much on this case on YouTube. There's so many videos on TikTok. I mean, this is definitely one of those rabbit holes, just like the crash documentary, for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And I will see you guys Tuesday for another episode of True Crime. No, madams, it is the worst thing ever. They massage it to basically to get it back where it belongs. And it's the most painful thing ever. Oh my God, I can feel it right now just talking about it. I can't. It's basically to make sure that the female does not hemorrhage after birth. But yes, anybody who's had a baby knows that's the worst part of it. I swear it's worse than the damn delivery, I feel like. But I love you guys, and I will see you Tuesday for another episode of True Crime with me, your host, Feminine and Fierce. And I will see you tomorrow for more malarkey. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great. Kaylee's like, stop it. Yes, Love Island time for me too. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Bye. Yes, Fundus massage is a birth control. It could be the commercial for birth control. I'm telling you.